Hello everyone, welcome to this session on GS-3 answer writing for environment, security and science. We have already dealt with GS-3 answer writing for economy and agriculture in previous session, and apart from that we have already covered GS1 and GS2 answer writing. So this is the last set of GS3 answer writing. As usual, let me inform you that you can download my notes as well as answer copies from my blog, that is Mudit blog. You can visit my Telegram channel. You can join it and take free guidance from me and get your exam related queries resolved. Or you can visit my YouTube channel for further exam related strategies. Mm, so as I've been telling you that I've written two books. One is on ethics, another is on world history, GS1 portion. While the ethics one is already out, even the second edition is out. It was out in Feb 2020 and it is doing well. I expect that by the time you are watching this video, the history book would also be available on Amazon as Kindle edition. So hoping for the best. This is what my ethics book covers on the left, and a highlight of what my history book would cover on the right. So let us start with the session. Let us start with the agenda of this video. So let me first tell you about environment, science and security in brief. Environment is 90% current based, but then as seen in 2016, a very static question, that is allelopathy, was asked. So I cannot guarantee that environment is completely current based. So UPSC has given a hint in 2016 that such static questions can also be asked even in future. Also, I guess EIA has been asked, that can also be included in a semi-static current based topic. So by the way, this keyword was present in the glossary section of Shankar book. So Shankar notes, spiral notes, printed notes. So I did not write mains in 2016, but then I was aware that this particular thing was mentioned in Shankar book. For science, again, it is a mix of static as well as current. Similarly, for security, schemes and policies, you are already aware that these are entirely current based. Again, a disclaimer, please watch previous sessions because there are a lot of repetitions, and I'll be skipping those repetitions completely because we have already we have already dealt with answer writing of GS1, GS2 and taken some 6 or 7 sessions. So reports, the usage, I have already told you about the entire reports in the previous session of GS3 video. If you have not watched it, please stop this session right here and first watch the previous video. Sources. So sources for current remain same as they were for GS2, GS3 part 1, GS3 part 2. There are no changes. For static, environment, refer Shankar. And for security, I did not refer any book. I am aware that there are books available. I am aware that you will think it very easy to have ready-made material in front of you, but then book is really not required for security. Uh, the questions that come in security are very simple. For static questions, that is like questions on border management, questions on naxalism, or questions on organized crime, etc., with money laundering and other keywords which are mentioned in syllabus, you can prepare them yourself. So there is no need of buying a book as such. If you do not want to prepare yourself, then look for some or other source. I did not follow any source, so I'm not recommending any source in this video. Now coming to science. So science portion is like a Achilles heel for many. Aspirants are not aware of what exactly to leave, what exactly to read for science. So again, there is no need of reading any book for science. Questions in science are uh, 90% I would say current based. So there is no need of a book as such again for science. The best source for science is the Hindu newspaper. If you have time, see previous year question papers, try to find out uh, the keyword of question. For example, if particular question is asked on patents and there is like geographical indication, so just Google that word and in front of that write the Hindu. I am sure you will be able to get particular articles from the Hindu from which the question is asked. Otherwise what you can do is uh, you can watch my there is a particular video on science sources on my YouTube channel. Go and watch that video. I have listed the articles from where 2017 paper of science came, 2017, 15 and 16. So it proves that nothing much beyond Hindu newspaper is required for science preparation. So these two are completely current based topics of science, but there is a topic named Achievement of Indians in Science and Technology. Now, this topic is mix of current and static. This is very important topic because I have seen in previous papers in 2018 and 19 questions like something on SN Bose came in paper. Now, SN Bose was in news that year, but then question wasn't entirely from current. It dealt with historical achievements related to Bose. So what you have to do is that whenever you see an Indian scientist is in news, do read about him or her in depth. So, for example, now you can see trailer of Shakuntala Devi movie coming soon. She was a mathematician. So I'll advise that you should read about her in detail. Do not say that you will watch the movie 3 hours and then you'll prepare answer it. That is not the way to prepare for UPSC. So just Google about her, just prepare a static material about achievements, about discoveries, Vedic mathematics, etc. I think a question on her can be asked by UPSC in 2020 mains. So this is the way you can predict, this is the way you have to prepare. Again, static and current portion of science like fields of IT, space, computer, biotechnology, etc. IPR. I have also included environment again in science, disaster management in science. So all these topics are very important. All these topics are not only static but also current based. So as I've told you in previous videos, you have to prepare 2 or 3 pages notes for each of such topic, like 2-3 page note for say IPR, 2-3 page note for biotechnology, covering aspects like these as mentioned in previous videos. If you haven't watched previous video, then please do watch. I won't repeat this paragraph in this video. So you have to be your own guide while preparing for science. It is best that you follow concise current affairs material that I have told and make notes out of them. 99% of times you will be easily able to handle questions that come in science. For example, I've made this slide like for IPR, if I'm asking you to make 2-3 pages notes. So first, what is IPR, why IPR, historical aspects related to the 1970 Act, uh, the problems, challenges, steps that have been taken, the solutions that you recommend, or the government policies, various pros and cons. So you have to cover this entirely in 2 or 3 pages and not more than that. Now, this slide is completely similar to what I had shown you previously in the GS3 part 1 slide. So the scores in GS3 are very up and down. These are very random. Questions are asked from previous year current affairs as well. So you have not only you have to read current affairs, but then you have to read them for 15 to 18 months. You have to make notes and you have to revise those notes again and again. Some questions are asked from same year and some questions are static. So it is a very broad paper, but then it is much easier to score than it is in GS2. So the keys to success are same as I told you in the previous video session, that you have to read and make notes of current and static and revise them 4 or 5 times. Only if you are able to revise them these many times, then the points will be on your tips. You won't have to think much during writing the answer, and your answer would be multidimensional, and then only you will be able to score say 450 plus in GS, and this will reduce a lot of pressure from your shoulders as far as interview is concerned. So interview is always like a dicey round. So take things in your own hands in mains itself, and the key to score in mains is this 2 or 3 lines. So shortcuts won't help. Newspaper is must. Keywords I have been stressing in all my sessions. So I'll be again telling you the answer structure that I followed for environment, science, and security. Not much is different from the previous sessions, but then there are some finer nuances. So we'll read the question, we'll break it in parts, we'll address each part of the question, we'll address the statement. I've told you this as well previously. Uh, then I've always told you to define keywords in introduction. Now, this is very important as far as environment based questions are concerned. Not often you will have something in defense that you can define. In science, again, you can define keywords, but then it is very important. As soon as you see a question on environment, find a keyword, define it. It is a must. Secondly, second point is news background. This I have already told in multiple sessions till now. Facts, I told you in the previous session that any answer of GS3 is incomplete if you have not mentioned facts. So you have to remember them. I told you that there is no need to again do something extra for facts. If you are reading current affairs regularly and making notes out of them, trust me, you will be covering all the necessary facts. So there is no need to run after separate sites, separate reports, books, etc. Report names. Now, uh, security related topic, it is very important to mention name of reports. It is important for environment also. Like in environment, you will mention forest survey, agriculture survey, IPCC, UNEP report, etc. In security related questions, compile the name of reports from current affairs. For example, there are reports on uh, border management. There are committees on tackling Naxalism. So you need to have uh, names of such reports or names of the head of such body, so that you can quote them in your answers. So we'll again, the same point that we'll write in points. Paper specific keywords. I've been telling you, I told you about making notes from Shankar for static topic in agriculture topic. Same goes for preparation of environment as well. So make notes of keywords like homeostasis, trophic levels, ocean coloring, ecotoxicity, etc. from Shankar book. You will be easily able to make list of 50 keywords, and in my view it is more than enough. So make a list of 50 keywords and just emphasize on using them. I've told you many times across sessions, the key is not to study, not to read, but to use what you read. So make a broad list. If you do not want to make your own list, you can download the list that I made from my blog, that is muditjanblog.wordpress.com. So that list is available by the heading of GS3 environment keywords. So you can just Google and in front of that write Mudit Jain. I'm sure you will get the link. Now, ARC, I've already told, court cases, committees, reports in news, usage of SDG, I told you in GS-2, GS-1, as well as in the previous session, IPCC. Uh, as I told you for ARC, there is no particular need for you to read IPCC. What you can do is that uh, just be aware of basic facts, basic issues on which IPCC deals with. And then if you have read current affairs religiously, the points from current affairs itself uh, will naturally find mention in IPCC. Like in current affairs, a lo- it is quoted many times that uh, there would be rise of 2 degrees Celsius by the end of century, and then it will lead to rise of sea level. It will lead to melting of ice. This very fact was mentioned by IPCC as well. So trust me, you already know what is mentioned in IPCC. The key is to just believe in this, that you know what is mentioned in IPCC. Just use the regular facts that are available in current affairs, and in front of that write as per IPCC. So this is all that is needed as far as IPCC report is concerned. Similarly, for agriculture as well as forest survey, there is no need to read them. Just develop the art, develop the skill of mentioning these surveys in your answers as passing reference. Security, I've already told you that defense related committees are very important. Then again I'm telling you that there is no need to refer any material for it as such, because these are available in current affairs in abundance every year. Make a list of keywords, I've told you. Diagram, I've been telling you this again and again, that if you want to gain +1 mark in every question that you attempt, draw a diagram. It is as simple as that. If you draw a diagram, you gain +1. So if you draw 10 diagrams in one GS paper, you gain +10. If you draw 40 diagrams in 4 GS papers, you get +40. So diagrams are very innovative. They help in gaining attention of examiner. They help in breaking the monotony. They help in bringing innovation and X factor to your answer. And this definitely creates a positive bias, and it helps you in gaining that extra mark. So as told in the previous sessions, hub and spoke diagram is very common. You can draw blocks and flowcharts. For environment related questions, you can draw map. For questions of border management, you can draw map. For questions of nexalism, you can draw map. So maps can be used in security, but it is very difficult because in the heat of moment you will forget it. So what is more important is to realize it, to ingrain it in yourself. I have never drawn a map myself in a security question or even in environment question. So, but then as you will read the questions, you will yourself realize that it was so easy for you to draw map in this question. What is the issue with us is that we have compartmentalized ourselves. We have created some artificial boundaries, that map is useful only in geography GS1. But this is not true. As I told you that you can draw map in GS1 history as well. You can draw map in society. You can draw map in IR. So you can draw map in GS3 security environment as well. In science-based questions, I think flowchart and hub spoke model and tables will be useful. In security, you can draw any of them. Conclusion, I don't think I need to spend even seconds on this slide. By now, I hope you will be aware of the importance of conclusion. So now let us get to questions. I'll be discussing 4 questions in this session. So the first question is from security. It is a mix of static and current. So the question is an unmanaged border. Now, again, recall the exercise that we do while reading the question. We identify the keywords. We try to segregate the question in subparts. So the keyword in this question in the first line itself is unmanaged border. An unmanaged border accentuates threats from unconventional sources. Threats from unconventional sources by providing easy points of ingress and egress. Discuss in the context of India's international border along the northeastern states. 15 marks, 250 words. So this is a type of statement based question. In this question you have one statement and then you have to discuss this statement in context of India's international border along the northeastern region only. So as soon as you see this question, this should click in your mind that you can draw a map in this question, because you can simply draw northeastern region. But then as you will find in my answer, I haven't drawn map. So it is about training your mind more than anything else. Train your mind, tell yourself day in, day out that you will draw a map in security question. I'm damn sure you will be able to draw. If you don't realize the opportunity, you won't do it. So now take 5 seconds, try to identify the subparts in this question. So I think most of you will struggle in identifying the subparts in this question, because it is not a question like we saw previously, that statement was something else and then something else was asked. In this, they have given a statement and then you have to discuss that statement. So it appears that it has only one part. But then now here comes your skill. So you have to discuss in context of India's international border along northeastern states. So if you are aware of the countries with which we share border, like Myanmar or Bhutan or China or Bangladesh, so you can divide your question in 3 or 4 subparts according to the name of country. So you can also include Nepal, China, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. I don't think there is any other country with which we share border in Northeast. So you can make 5 sets in this question according to country wise. Once you divide it into 5 sets, it means you have given 5 subparts, and for each you would have to write only 3 points, because it is a 15 marker question. So see how easily you can handle this question in multiple dimensions, and how easily you have created your own dimensions in this answer. The answer will be very broad, and it will definitely be very unique in itself, because 9 out of 10 people won't be able to divide it this way. So the keyword is unmanaged border or unconventional threats. So define them in the introduction. Read the question, break it. Question appears to have one part, but then I have told you it has 3 or 4 parts. In the intro, I've told you about mentioning facts in GS3 answers. So you have to remember what are border related facts. How much length of border we share with particular country, you can mention that. I always used to mention in kilometers the border that we share with a particular country. From where you will get this? As I told you, in static topics you have to make 2-3 pages notes. So this will come from those notes. You can see my notes on my blog, but then I'll advise you to make your own notes. So mention facts related to border, countries, and you can define unconventional sources or unconventional threats. Make separate headings. I've already told you that in border or security related question, reports and committees play a huge part. So whatever report or committee you find in current affairs that year, mention that. Just mentioning the name is enough. Just mentioning the name will create required impact. You don't have to mention other details related to the report. I've already told you that you have to make static keywords like organized crime, money laundering, espionage, narco terrorism. These two keywords are from the syllabus itself: organized crime, money laundering. This is from notes like espionage network, narco terrorism, etc. uh, this is mentioned above. You'll draw a diagram and conclude. So this is the answer that I wrote. In the very first line itself, I am telling that India has this much of international border with 7 different nations. And then I'm mentioning the keyword unmanned border provides for unconventional threats. Like I mentioned what are unconventional threats in points. So this wasn't asked, but then you are mentioning. So you can take liberty of answering in 1 or 2 words only. That every point is just 1 or 2 words each. You need not mention 1 or 2 lines for each point in such thing. Then I made separate headings, that with Bangladesh, with China, uh, with Myanmar, I have missed Nepal, I have missed Bhutan, because I think back then there were not much issues related to India and Nepal. But then today there are issues, so it must be in current affairs, and you have to mention Nepal as well. So now see what I've mentioned in these points. I've used keywords like infiltrations. I've used examples of Kokrajhar. Again, I'm using organized crime, money laundering keyword, trans border. I have mentioned bodies like Ulfa. I've even mentioned name of the leader. It must have been in news that year. That is why it was in my notes, and I've mentioned that. I'm mentioning again keywords: espionage, cyber terrorism, narco terrorism, radicalization. So all these points are straight away coming from current affairs. I have not made up any points. Uh, so this is the importance of reading newspaper and making your own notes. Again, for Myanmar, I'm mentioning the facts. I'm mentioning important districts which were in news that year. I'm mentioning about the important, very important news item of that particular year, uh, where our forces were ambushed. So you can see how I've made use of current affairs. However, I have made use of static keywords, reports, bodies, etc. I've drawn a diagram, but then I've made one mistake. I've concluded, but after conclusion, I've drawn diagram. So this should be opposite. First, there should be diagram and ensure that there is nothing after conclusion. Conclusion means conclusion. Conclusion should form the last part of your answer and not second last or third last. So this is the answer. 15 mark question. I think I've done enough to gain 7 marks in this question. You can practice your own answer and then tally with the format that I have given. Second question. It is an environment question, completely current affair based question. So, question is: given the threat of climate change, there is an urgent need to move towards climate smart agriculture. So, there are two keywords: climate change and climate smart agriculture. You have to elaborate this statement. This is a statement, you have to elaborate it. Also, discuss the strategies to make high cost technologies accessible to farmer. So there is no subpart in this line, it is one part. But then can you identify two subparts in this statement? Take 5 seconds. It is only 3 lines. Identify two subparts. So according to me, you will first have to tell what are the threats of climate change. And then you will tell how climate smart agriculture is needed to counter these particular threats of climate change to agriculture. Given the threats of climate change, there is an urgent need to move towards climate smart agriculture. So climate change must be having some threats to agriculture. You have to mention them and then write about, define climate smart agriculture, and then mention how climate smart agriculture will handle these threats, and then mention strategies of making high cost technologies accessible to farmer. So there are three parts in this question. We have identified three parts. It is a 15 marker question. We'll write 5 points each. In the intro, as I have already told you, as soon as you see a question of environment, two things must struck you, that you have to mention IPCC. Wherever you see environment, IPCC, UNEP, UNFCCC, and other keywords from Shankar book come into play. So mention IPCC, try to mention it as early as possible so that you do not forget to mention it in the thick of things. This aspect I told you in GS2 polity video, where I told you that mention FR, DPSP, etc. as soon as possible. So define climate change, very easy. You can define climate smart agriculture. Mention facts. It is a GS3 paper, so you have to mention facts related to climate change. Report will be IPCC, Forest Survey, Agriculture Survey. Keywords will come from Shankar book. And news background, because it is a current affair based question. It's a very simple question to handle. Three headings, 5 points each. Keywords I've told you. Link with current schemes and policies. So uh, when you see a question like this, also discuss the strategies to make high cost technologies available to farmer. You can always write points like government is focusing on doubling the farmer income by 2022. So this will automatically make high cost technologies accessible to farmer. See how I have linked a current affair based policy to this particular question. So likewise, there are many schemes in use. You can easily link them. Let's see the answer that I've written. I've defined climate change in the introduction. I'm using keywords like in the recent decades, the intensity of this natural process has aggravated due to anthropogenic reasons. In bracket, I've just written IPCC. Now, this is what I told you. This fact you must be aware already from the newspaper. From plain reading of newspaper, you will be aware. And this was also mentioned by IPCC. So whatever you are aware, just write that, and in front of that write IPCC. I'm damn sure this bluff will work. So then I have mentioned the effects of climate change on agriculture. I'm mentioning facts like malnourishment. I've mentioned 842 million people in world are malnourished, and then I've mentioned the body as well. That this is as per FAO, Food Agriculture Organization, if I remember it correctly now. So I've mentioned IPCC, I've mentioned UNEP, and then in the this is the second part, that what will climate smart agriculture do, and this I mentioned general points, and then I mentioned uh, Anthra NGO. This I told you in the previous sessions as well, that uh, keep a list ready. You can always use such bodies as well. So lastly, I have dealt with the third part of the question. I have made a separate heading for it, and I have written 4 points here, uh, 5 and 5. 14 points in my answer. Apart from reports, facts, introduction, uh, I have used schemes to very good effect in this point, like DBT, rationalizing of MSPs, soil health card, Kisan, KCC, need-based technologies, PPP, RRB, SHG, Post Bank, etc. So I am making use of current affairs here, here, and here, while I am making use of static knowledge here. So if you have read Sri Ram spiral notes, you will find this in agriculture chapter of Sri Ram. So you can use that topic here as well. And in the end, I have written a conclusion. But then I have missed one thing in this question, and that is diagram. So I could have easily drawn map of India, and I could have shown the impact of climate change, say in western, northwestern India. There is no need to draw entire map. You can only show the part of map of India where you are writing of what you are writing about. So if you are writing about Rajasthan, just show Rajasthan. So map was very easy in this question, or hub and spoke model, that if I have written say uh, 4 points here, I could have drawn a map, or I could have drawn a flow chart in this question as well. So it is all about mindset. It is all about remembering the answer structure. Even if your mindset is such that you have to draw a diagram, because trust me, my mindset is that I have to draw a diagram. But then in thick of things, you tend to forget it in heat of things. So keep reminding yourself again and again, even during exam, that there is an answer structure and you have to follow it. So coming to the third question, again it is a science question. It is a mix of static and current. So it is, according to the UNEP report, 90% of world's e-waste, world's e-waste is keyword. UNEP report is a keyword. World's e-waste is dumped or traded illegally in Asia and Africa, with India being one of the main destinations. It is a statement. Question that is asked is different from what is statement. The question asked is mention the hazards of this illegal dumping and discuss how India can tackle this challenge. So they have asked you about hazards, basically hazards of e-waste, and then solutions for e-waste. So uh, how many parts are there in this question? This is very evident that it is one part. This is evident that it is another part. And as I've told you before, you cannot miss the statement. So statement is a part in itself. So we have read the question, we have broken it into parts, 3 parts we have identified. We'll write 5 points for each part. Now the keyword is e-waste, as I've already told you. If you have read Shankar book, I'm damn sure that you would have read about e-waste. Also, if you have read current affairs, you will be aware about facts, figures, various reports related to e-waste. You have to define e-waste in introduction. You have to write about reports related to e-waste. You have to write about facts and data. Now, in this question, a particular UNEP report is mentioned. The name of report is not mentioned. It just says UNEP report. So there must be some name. If this question is from current affairs, and this then must have come as an article in every newspaper. So if you have read newspaper, if you have made your own notes, you would have included name of that report. Now here you get a chance to gain edge over others, because 9 out of 10 people, or say even 7 out of 10 people, won't mention the name of that report. So if you know the name, mention that, because it is mentioned in question, a UNEP report. So I think examiner wants you to focus on this aspect as well. If you know the report, mention it. Then second thing, it says 90%. So also try to deal with this aspect, because see it that way, what was the need of writing these two things? UNEP report 90%. It could have, the question could have simply been, according to a report, most of world's e-waste is dumped in India. There was no need of writing UNEP report 90% Asia, Africa. So these are the things that you must focus in your answer before jumping onto India. Now, this is the mistake that I have made in my answer, as we'll see later. So we have gone through the introduction, 3 headings, 5.8. So here I have mentioned about this point that I was just telling you, that even if you don't know about that UNEP report, or even if you don't know about e-waste dumping in Asia and Africa as such, uh, the things would not be much different than they are in India. So you can take clues from e-waste in India and write your answers with respect to Asia and Africa. Now, what is the key? That you should have some sort of knowledge about which Asian or African countries are using electronic goods too much. For example, Thailand or Malaysia, they use electronic goods. Singapore they use, but then I think Singapore would have good e-waste disposal mechanisms. I think I'm not sure, but then I'll take a guess in this question that Thailand might not have that much of e-waste disposal mechanisms. I'm not aware, I'm bluffing. This might be right or wrong. But then to address this statement, you have to mention one or other example. Similarly for Africa, I guess I guess most of them won't be doing well. So pick a country of your choice, say South Africa or Zimbabwe or Nigeria, and then write that these particular countries are not doing well as far as e-waste management is considered. So you have to mention about these things in your answer. Apart from that, question is very simple. Now let us see my answer. I've defined e-waste. I mentioned facts, but then I've jumped straight forward to India. Uh, I forgot about UNEP. I forgot about 90% aspect. I forgot about Asia. I forgot about Africa. So most of the statement part I've forgotten about because the statement said about India, it is quite obvious that you will be aware about facts related to India and you will jump in your mind that this is such a simple question, let me answer it. So, in that heat of moment, uh, what happens is that you completely miss the entire question. So, be focused, be attentive to each and every word that is mentioned in question. Apart from that, I have mentioned the I've followed the answer structure. I've drawn the diagram. I'm mentioning about I've divided the hazards in three parts. So the one is sustainability, then environmental health. I'm mentioning points related to that. I've mentioned points about how India can tackle. So overall, there are 5 plus 3 plus 3 9 9 and 5 14 points, diagram, facts, reports, but then I have missed the statement part of it. So even if you think that you have attempted the question very well, this is the learning that these unknown things happen while attempting the answer, and this is where you tend to lose marks. So let us move to the last question of this session, science plus environment. It is very interesting question, be careful. Even though fly ash is a valuable resource material, but if not managed well, it may pose environmental challenges. Comment. Also list a few steps that have been taken by government to promote the use of fly ash. So, how many parts can you recognize in this question? I think there are 3 or 4 parts. So let us see. Fly ash is our keyword. First, we have to prove that it is a valuable resource material because it is written in the question, even though it is a valuable resource material. So first, prove it. Second aspect is, if not managed well, it may pose environmental challenges. So this becomes the second part, not managed well. So what are the challenges that it may pose? And third is very evident. Also list a few steps that have been taken by government. Apart from this, there is a fourth option as well that you can write yourself in conclusion or way forward approach, that these are the steps that have been taken, but more needs to be done. So these are the solutions that you can give in this question. So in all, there are 4 parts of this question. It is a 15-mark question. Then you have to write only 4 points for each part. In the intro, define fly ash, as we have been doing in all the sessions. We will define the keyword. If you are aware of any facts related to it, any report, say IPCC. Now only pause the video, Google IPCC fly ash. I'm very sure that IPCC would have said something or other somewhere down the line on fly ash as well. So you can bluff, you can take a smart guess. Then mention the news background. I think there was some policy in some particular state or what that or the center came with some policy that fly ash will be used in road construction. So you have to mention that news background in this answer. The four parts: fly ash as resource, problems if not managed well, the steps taken by government, and the needs, what more needs to be done. Keywords, very simple, they will come from Shankar and current affairs. Let us see my answer. Uh, I have defined it. I am proving that it is a valuable resource. I have written 5 points. Then I'm mentioning how it is a challenge. I've mentioned the needs, what you can do. Now, see these points. These are important as these mention keywords from Shankar. Using adsorption, phase containment of fly ash, using catalytic fuel converters, keeping it in a solution form. If you read pollution related chapter of Shankar book, I'm sure you will be able to see these points somewhere or other. Uh, Similarly, I've used keywords in entire answer like smog, ground ozone. I'm mentioning elements. So these all things make impact in your answer. Now I'm mentioning another keyword, ecosystem management principle, homeostasis, natural levels. These are all keywords mentioned from Shankar itself. Lastly, I've handled the fourth part, that is the steps taken by government, and I've written 4 points. And then I'm mentioning examples as well. See, this was the news I was talking about, used in brick construction in states like Odisha and MP, used in flooring, notification on its mandatory usage in road construction. This is the point, this is the news. So you have to make points from current affairs, from policies itself. And lastly, I have mentioned conclusion. So overall, a very good attempt. All that I missed in this answer was a diagram. Again, you can draw a hub spoke model. It is very easy. You can draw a flowchart. What you can do is that here write steps and then just in one word each mention the steps. Or if you want to draw hub spoke, write steps and in 1, 2, 3, 4 words mention the steps taken. You can even draw map. If you want to be very creative, you can draw a map like Odisha portion you can show, or central India you can show in map and say that these are the areas which produce fly ash majorly in the country, and these are the areas which are using them in one way or other across the country. So this is all from my side in this session. The focus areas I'll just summarize are keywords for environment, reports for environment, reports and committees name for defense and security. And for science, the focus area must be on preparation, must be on notes making rather than answer writing, because there is nothing specific to tell you about science answer writing. The main point of science preparation is what to prepare, what not to prepare. That I've already told you. So if there are any other queries, I think you can resolve them on your own from my blog by downloading my notes and answer copies. If still anything remains, you can ping me on my Telegram channel, that is Decode Civils Group. You can watch other videos that I have made and uploaded on my YouTube channel. It is entirely free. It is completely non-commercial adventure. Or you can go through my books on ethics as well as world history. So thank you for watching the session. Stay safe. Happy learning. Thank you.